Hi everybody, I hope you're all doing well. It's been a couple of weeks since you last saw me. I had hoped that last weekend I'd be here to review the book I'm here to review, but work was crazy. I had my trip to Manchester, and I finished work for my holiday, and so I hardly read that week. I was just so super busy. So I ended up taking The Girl with All the Gifts to Liverpool with me, and I returned Thursday afternoon from Liverpool. I had such a good time. I wish I'd stayed for longer, but that just means I'll have to go back. I feel like I arrived the Monday, but not until about 3:15 in the afternoon. And then I had 2 full days, and then I left the Thursday morning. So I only really had 2 days, and I did a load of exploring. I ate out at places. I went to museums. I went to the theatre. I did lots of things, but I feel like I didn't really explore a ton of the city. But I had a wonderful time. I went to the cathedral as well. I went to the bombed out church, St. John's. I had a great time. Saw a load of statues. Saw the Cabin Club. It was fantastic. It was so much fun. The people of Liverpool are just so lovely, so kind. And yeah, I definitely have to go back. And I bought a few books to just very quickly show you. I bought a few books while I was there, and I just, so they're going to be going into my jars and such. And so straight off, it's Ken Follett's The Armour Effect. I'm like, oh my God. This is the Kingsbridge 1792 book. So this came out October last year, but because I am so annoying, I have a thing that if there is a series of books that I love, I have to get all the books in the same format for my bookshelf. And because I started The Pillars of the Earth like decades after it was first published, I had it in paperback. I had to do all the rest of the series in paperback, so I had to wait an entire year for this book to come out in paperback, and I finally have it. I am so excited to get back to Kingsbridge 1792. Oh my God, yay, it's going to be so exciting with the revolutions and everything going on. So there we go. So the first one is The Armour of Light. That was in a buy one get one half price offer. And the other one I went for, I kind of went on a bit of a whim because I wasn't really impressed with all of the other books in the offer. So I went for Prophet Song by Paul Lynch. So this won the Booker Prize in 2023 and is about a woman in Ireland whose husband is taken away by the secret police because he's a union man. I don't know exactly what year this is set, but it's all about her struggle to try and understand what's going on and keep peace basically in her family with her 2 young children. That's all I know about it. If I've got any of that wrong, please let me know in the comments. So yeah, I just thought I wasn't very impressed with the range of books in the half price buy one get one half price offer that Waterstones had, but I thought I'd give this one a go. So there we go. So Prophet Song. And then I went for something completely I would not pick up. Well, I mean, it just feels like, it's kind of generic, but I just thought, what the hell, I'm on holiday, I'll give it a go. And that is The House That Horror Built by Christina Henry. So this was first published earlier this year, and it's this come out in paperback. And it's basically about a cleaner who goes, a woman who is a single mum. She is just, trying to survive and everything. And she becomes a cleaner for a movie. I can't remember if it's director or producer. Let's see. Oh, it doesn't actually say exactly. Well, it's like a director or a producer or something. And she goes to clean this guy's house, and he's very known, it's very well known for previous directors to have lived there and everything, and related to the horror genre. And while she's there, she starts hearing strange noises, and it's all about the secrets that come out. So yeah, The House That Horror Built. So overall, that came to like, with the buy one and get one half price offer, it was like £25. And then they went, oh, by the way, you've got £10 worth of points on your Waterstone card. Do you want to use that to get £10 off? I was like, yes, please. So that came out to £15. So basically it was like a £5 for each of those books. So I was very happy with that. So there we go. Those are the books I bought. As mentioned, I went to the theatre. I went to see Sister Act, the UK tour. I've never seen it before. I had a blast. It was so much fun, and I had an amazing seat. Liverpool Theatre is like the biggest theatre outside of London. My God, it is ridiculously big. I was in the balcony on the second row, and 4 seats either side of me were empty and the rest of the row was full. So it was almost like people don't want to sit next to me, but it meant that I had the most epic view ever, and I had such a fun time. So if you do get a chance to see Sister Act, the UK tour, go see it. It's brilliant. So anyway, that out the way, I can now start talking about the book that I've been reading over the past couple of weeks, which is The Girl with All the Gifts by m.r.carey. Mike is the first name of the author, just so you're aware. So if I do refer to the author, I'll be saying Mike throughout this, then you know who I'm talking about. So my relationship, if you want to call it, with The Girl with All the Gifts is basically when the film came out in 2016. That was when I had like my unlimited Cineworld card, and I went like every week to the cinema to see a film or two. And it was just one of those films that was on, I was available, I went to see it. I'd seen the trailer and I thought, okay, that's quite interesting. And I remember sitting watching this film and I really enjoyed it, to the degree that I thought about getting the book. I'd gotten the book, hold of the book, never read it. So yeah, I've now gotten around to reading it, and I haven't rewatched the film because I discovered that it's on Amazon Prime, and I don't have Amazon Prime, and because I was on holiday and everything, I thought about getting a DVD copy, but I just wasn't able to because I was busy. So I haven't been able to rewatch the film to give my thoughts on comparison between what was in the film versus what was in the book. But pretty much it's there. I mean, there's some elements of like, oh, if only I remember they'd done this, but if they expanded it more or whatever. But I think possibly because it's just some things are more novelistic, some things are more suitable for the screen. It is the nature of the beast. But Mike, I believe, was the one who wrote the screenplay, or he co-wrote the screenplay. I can't remember what the situation is there. But he was involved with the telling of the story. So I really liked that. I was in trusting hands, as it were. So The Girl with All the Gifts is a post-apocalyptic UK-based story where if you like The Last of Us, you're going to like this story, because it's basically the same kind of thing, where we have a situation where there's been a fungus-related spores that have gotten into the food system of the world, and of course has been sent out international because of the way in which trade and industry and everything works, and people have been controlled by these pause things, and they basically become like zombies. And there it is this centre where children who are half zombie, which sounds very weird to say, but they are, basically live. They are children whose mothers were infected. They've like bitten whilst pregnant, and they've given birth, and then they have produced these children, and they basically they have this really horrible life where they live in cells. They go to class every day, but they have to be strapped down to wheelchairs and everything. They are high functioning, so they're able to talk, read, write, learn, etc. They get disinfected to be able with this thing called the e-blocker, as do all the staff in this centre, which means that they cannot smell the flesh of those who are not infected in the centre, aka, teachers, doctors, etc. Because if they do, they'll start reacting and attack and kill them. And one of the children is Melanie, and Melanie is super, super smart. She's got a very, very high IQ. She loves her teacher, Miss Justinu. She loves stories, especially Greek mythology. And the girl with all the gifts is actually the English translation of the name Pandora. Obviously, Pandora's box from the mythology. She opened the box and all hell broke loose. And it's all about her and her understanding of this world and her possibly having the ability to save mankind. But what does that mean for Melanie? So we explore Melanie and her life, and that's what The Girl with All the Gifts is about. So I will admit, when I first picked up this book, because it had been 8 years since I'd seen the film, because I only saw it in the cinema that one time. So it was a film that I saw 8 years ago. I couldn't remember all the details, but as I started reading it, it came to mind. And I will admit, when I first started reading this, I was a bit frustrated. And my main reason is, and if you've watched any of my videos for a while, you will know that I hate short chapters. I hate them so much. This book is like 430 pages, something like that. It has 91 chapters. That's excessive. That's excessive. So I started this book and I was like, oh my God, we are in this situation. But I was like, okay, let's just go with it. Let's just see where this goes. And this is the thing where I realized as the book went on, oh, Mike, you clever little man. Because when we are introduced to Melanie's world, the chapters are short. We have very short sentences. Not highly complex sentence structures with the range of words that are available. It's very dum, 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 dum. And I was thinking, so I was reading this, I was like, I don't think I can cope 430 odd pages with this stilted, short chapter. Oh, this is going to annoy me. But then as events unfold, and I'm not going to say what happens because obviously spoilers, but something happens to shake up Melanie's world and the world of everyone else in this sheltered center, where from the outside, from the zombies and everything, something completely shakes everything up. And it's from that point that the chapters then get longer. The sentences become more complex. We have shifts of change of points of view. And I'm like, okay, so by having the short chapter structure near the beginning, it's literally, this is all these characters know. We are locked into the center. You are locked into these chapters, these short stilted chapters of almost like, each chapter is almost like a day. And so you get these short, sharp sentences. And as the danger increases and the walls break down, the chapters grow longer, the sentences grow more complex. We have more things that we encounter, different. When I got to that point, I was like, okay, I see what you did there, Mike. I see what you did there. Now, of course, there are still short chapters as you go along, because there are some things where we need to keep switching back and forth between characters and such. And like, there's one chapter right near the end of the book that's half a page. And it's like, oh, okay, that's right. So they do still pop up. But I did like the fact that he changed the structure of the chapters and the sentences with the complexity of danger that comes up. Now, when it comes to the actual descriptions, and so it's a very, very visceral book. It really, really is. You almost, or at least I should say, I almost felt like when we were in the, in the center, when we have our short sentences and short chapters, it feels like the walls are always clean. It's white. It's stripped bare. And then when that world gets shook up, we then get dirt and grime and gore and muck, and the descriptions deepen. They become murkier. They become more sinister. And there are some descriptions of things that will not leave my mind. And I'm going to give an example of one. I'll try and say it in the quickest and nicest way possible. It's not a spoiler because it's just something that they encounter, but it just so that you get an idea. So at one point they encounter something under a blanket. There's something move out, and they're like, oh my god, it's going to be somebody, it's going to be a zombie, it's going to pop out at us. And they remove the sheet, and there is a dead baby that has been dead for some time, and the movement was from rats that were using its rib cage as a home. When I read that, I had to go, ooh, God. The way that Mike describes it. And I can't remember that image being in the film. It might be, it might not. Because as I said, it was 8 years ago that I saw this film once in the cinema. So I'm like, I can't remember. But yeah, reading that, I was like, oh my God. And that's one of the tamer descriptions. That's one of the tamer moments in this book. There is some really hardcore stuff that happens in this book. And that very much, it brought flashes of The Walking Dead to me as well, because obviously that's also a zombie related, The Last of Us, etc. So yeah, expect to come across things that just appear out the blue that you don't expect. Is one thing I would say about this book. But yeah, the way that he contrasts light versus dark, clean versus dirty, the complexity of characters as well, and the who can you trust, who can't you trust, was very, very well put together. I find the character that I didn't expect to, well, I was just about to say become my favourite, but he's not my favourite, but I find him fascinating, is Sergeant. I think Sergeant Parks is just, he understands he's got a job to do, and he's almost like, you can't be emotional, you can't be this, that and the other, but everything about why he does what he does is emotional. And the psychology and how he views Melanie, and as the story goes along, how that can then change his view. And his decision at the end of the book, I'm not going to say what because obviously spoilers, I know that was a big deal for him to ask that of her. And I'm glad that he asked her to do that. And I'm glad she did what she did. It really showed the development of his character. And yeah, I find him so intriguing. So you could say, same as Miss Justino, same as Catherine Cardwell, same as Melanie herself. But there's something about Sergeant that just grabs hold of my attention. I remember I really liked Paddy's interpretation of him for the film when I watched it. But I can't remember being drawn to him like I was drawn to him in the book. Maybe it's just that thing that obviously it's been so long since I watched it, but also the novelistic versus the cinematic possible differences in the way that he was portrayed. But I find Sargent so interesting a character, and I liked that there is hope and light and endless possibilities with this, but it's so also scientific. There's an academic elements to it. It feels like Mike has really thought about this so much, and it's just so well put together. Now, when I got to the end of the book, I saw the acknowledgements and I read the acknowledgements, and Mike refers to the fact that this actually began as a short story, which was published, and it then he decided then to expand it further and make it into a full novel. So I do wonder if possibly the short sentence, short chapter structure directly correlates to the short story, and then he's then expanded the world and so expands the structure from there. That could be completely wrong because I've not read the short story, so I have no idea. But I think it's that thing that the shorter the story, the more complex the planning in the background. So I do wonder if the level of complexity and the level, as I said, the scientific and academic, but it's so emotional and everything, is because he has spent so long with these characters to learn about who they are and everything, to be able to put that into a short story and make it work so well. And now he's had the ability to expand it out further and make it into this full novel. I really liked it. It really does have a wonderful pace. It's great characterization. There is some dark stuff in there. When stuff happens, it does feel really quite thrilling to read. It is a really great story. And I just love the fact that love and hope and stories and how nature plays its part, and the cycle of nature and everything. And just as with humans, it doesn't end. We adapt, we learn, we teach, we go forward, and how Mike explores that through a post-apocalyptic situation slap bang in the middle of England. I really, really loved that. I thought it was great. I totally agree with what these various comments are saying. Enigmatic and utterly gripping, vividly memorable and unexpectedly poignant, takes hold of you and doesn't let go. It really, really does. Even though I knew the story, I had forgotten so much about it that it felt like I was on this completely new adventure, this new roller coaster. It was just so well put together. I'm rather annoyed that it's taken me until now to read it, but I've read it, so there we go. So as mentioned, obviously there's the film. Of what I remember from the film, and I've looked at various clips on YouTube, I'll include the link to the trailer in the description as well if you want to view it. They did really well with adapting it. And as I said, Mike, I think he was either the only person to write the screenplay or he co-wrote the screenplay with someone, but I'm not entirely sure. But he was definitely involved with writing the screenplay, which is really good to have person who was write the source. They have changed some things. So for example, as mentioned, the centre is described as being very clean, very white walls and everything, and when you first look and you go to the trailer and click on it, it's not like that at all. It's quite, dark and a bit dingy and a bit like falling to bits, but the walls hold for now. Things like that. And as I said, there are elements that I can't really compare to because it's been 8 years since I saw the film, so I can't possibly say how good of an adaptation it is. But from what I can understand, or what I can remember, what I've seen of clips, etc., the trailer, it is pretty close. There are changes, obviously, because it's adaptation. There has to be change, but not too bad an adaptation is what I can remember / have viewed in the past 24 hours on YouTube. So that's my thoughts on The Girl with All the Gifts by m.r.carey. Let's ask my usual questions. Would I read this again? Yeah, I think I definitely would. I really enjoyed it. It was well put together, not too shabby at all. Yeah, I'll go for that. Would I recommend this to anyone? Yes, definitely, especially if you've got somebody who really likes The Last of Us or The Walking Dead, and they wanted to read a novel that was that kind of same thing, especially The Last of Us, because it's the same fungus related stuff that gets into the food system, etc. Then yes, definitely recommend this book. Would I read any more of Mike's work? Yeah, I think I'd definitely give another one of his books a go. I haven't looked up his bibliography, so I don't know if this is like his first novel, or if it is a case of that he published several before and this was just the next one that up, and this is the only one that I know of his work because I had seen the film. So I definitely have to look up his bibliography and see what else he has published. So those are my thoughts on The Girl with All the Gifts. Have you read this book and let me know what you think? You can leave a comments box below, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, tag together as you decide. And I'll back my thoughts on my next read, which is Storyteller, The Life of Roald Dahl by Donald Surrick. This is quite a big book. I've got 3 more days off work before I am back at work, so I'm going to try and get through as much of this as possible before I have to go back to work. But it might be that it'll be a couple of weeks before you see me again for this review, just simply because obviously back at work, but I will do my best to get back to you ASAP with my review on this by this time next week. All right then, everyone. Bye.